Hola! I knew we will eventually meet here at the surrendering of the soul phase. Even though this is a very intimate process and also very different for everyone, I know that we'll have something in common. We all feel extremely lonely when we go through it. Every day, I help others to reach a state of liberation by uncovering the gifts that are hidden under labels such as insecurity, trauma, grief, depression. But before being able to guide others to move from their post-traumatic stress disorder to a stage of post-traumatic growth, I had to learn how to transcend my own traumas due to verbal, emotional, and sexual abuse. This is a space where myself, Mendizabal, and others will share with you the gift of surrendering to the soul. And no need to buckle up because this trip is being guided by the spirit in La Catch. Well, this morning I was so stressing out. I was feeling intimidated by Sandra coming all the way to my house. So thank you for doing that. She has over 40 years of expertise in holistic nutrition. And I found her, by the universe guide me to her. And we have been working together since. And it has been just a beautiful journey for me in the last couple months. Since my nutrition has changed and I just feel more energy and I'm just finding that missing piece with the nutrition that I've been looking for a long time. Yeah. And later I can talk about it. I'm going to share my story about the labeling behind binge eating. But today is about Sandra. And I cannot wait for asking you this question.
Okay, let's do it.
Sandra.
First of all, let me thank you for inviting me to come and talk with you today.
Oh, no, I'm so, I said, I was so thrilled.
You're such a beautiful soul, and you're such an amazing person, and you're an incredible healer, because we got you on a program right away, and you immediately sent me that text through the serendipitous ways that we connected. Sent me the text, and you immediately responded, and your body's already so great. And I just want to attribute that because I've worked with many people and it doesn't always happen that quickly. So I commend you for the amazing work you've done to bring that into your life to heal.
Thank you so much for saying that. Yeah, because, I find that the biggest responsibility we have as healers is to heal ourselves constantly, right? And that's what the real work...
It's exhausting.
Yeah, that's when the real work comes in. And that's how they really define us as a healer. It's okay, but are you able to heal yourself? Right? Because then you are not really being a healer 100%. You're healing others, but you're not healing yourself.
Yeah, it's true.
And we're attracting what we're ready to heal, right? So all the consultants are probably that happens to you too, but all the consultants that comes to your life is because they are showing you a part that you're ready to heal.
Yeah.
So if you don't do it, then you keep having the same kind of consultants, the same kind of clients in your case. I call my consultants because, it's not really a client for me, but it's as a coach perspective. But
well, just as energetic beings, we keep revisiting the same story until we can shift it, right?
Yeah.
So, as a healer, kind of your job is to facilitate and help create that portal, which is what you do for your consultants. I call them clients, yes. Just facilitate a space and hold them in that space, support them in that space, and give them tools in that space to transmute. And really, inevitably, it's you co-working with your people, whether it's through nutrition or whether it's through using energetic healing, which is what you're doing, or whether you're a physician or whether you're a dentist or, whether you're taking a small pill. It's all about, if it's going to work for you, it's because you're ready to. Sometimes we have to visit things over and over and over and over, and then when we're ready and for whatever energetic reason and how the universe lines, all of a sudden we can hear the message.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's just the magic happens when you're ready, regardless, right? The portal is always there for you.
The portal is always available.
It's always there.
If your door is open, it's available.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was going to say that I wanted to ask you this question. Have you been looking for a missing piece in your past? As you know, the name of this season, I put it the missing piece because I'm sharing my story how I was constantly looking for a missing piece.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, have you been looking for a missing piece?
I would say, in a quick answer, yes, always. I came out of the birth canal that way. I was always seeking. I was always striving. I attracted a certain energetic field of family, of matriarch, patriarch, mother, father, that were going to teach me lessons that actually allowed space for me to be looking for that. So I just want to back this up a little bit because you use the term missing piece. There's a really fantastic, famous author. He writes children's books, but like all truly gifted children's books, it pertains to life and us as spiritual beings on the planet, and often is how I interpreted many of the books I read to my two daughters. But Shel Silverstein wrote a book called The Missing Piece Meets the Big O. So if you don't know it, get it, read it. It's a quick read. If you have kids or not, it's worthy of doing it.
I'm getting it.
You're getting it. I actually might be able to gift it to you if I can find it in my archival stuff.
Okay.
Missing Piece Meets the Big O. And I don't want to...
The big O?
The Big O.
Okay, the big O.
The
circle.
O.
Like the circle.
The circle.
Okay.
So it's about a square, and it's searching for its mate, and it has to learn to become... I don't want to give it away. Read it. It's really fantastic, and it's exactly what you're talking about. So the fact that you're using the term missing piece is right, because it's always looking for the missing piece. Now, all of us have sought the missing piece either in relationships or maybe career or certain paths we've chosen in seeking. Earlier today, before we were on camera, you shared with me, you know, I feel like I've done this and I've done that and I've done this and now I've come to this. And so, but this is part of our journey. This is exactly what we do. You didn't know me as a non-nutritionist. I was also a filmmaker. I worked in fashion, lived in London and Paris. So I've done fashion, I've done film, and I'm in food. And I've been consecutively in food for many, many years. I ran restaurants, a very young life and restaurant business. And I was seeking always. You know, I thought I was an artist. I thought I was a designer. I had a small interior design. I for uncertain terms, I started to view myself as almost flaky, because it wasn't like I could land on something. Mm-hmm. And whatever I landed on, I excelled and did well. And then within a short period of time, I was very bored. So that caused my soul to keep searching and seeking something that was missing. Mm-hmm. And I struggled with judging myself around that and feeling like I wasn't really, you know, I was the jack of all trades and masters of none, which is what was pointed out to me quite a lot. I would take on a trade, I'd be really well, I'd excel to the top of it, and then within a short period, I was bored, or I left angry, or I left frustrated. And this was no way to live. So I started, you know, seeking many different ways of looking at what that looked like. So I sought out spiritual practice, and I looked at many spiritual practices, some religious, some not quite so religious. You know, there was aspects of that were important and spoke to me, so I certainly explored myself that way. I looked into the arts, and I had interior design, and I did, you know, it's that thing, it's that angst, it's like something's missing. And it wasn't until I really solidified myself in what makes me feel good. Now let's not confuse this. Taking the leap of faith to be an entrepreneur, taking the leap of faith to step into the health and wellness field, taking the leap of faith to leave everything that was the safe, a regular income,
the safe environment,
right? All the safe things that you have a Monday to Friday job and you get paid a certain amount, and you have medical and you have dental. When you leap out of that, and I believe sometimes the entrepreneur spirit is very much about this. We talked also about earlier. When you leap out of that, and in spite of yourself, because that's a huge fear factor, stepping out of something comfortable and regular, consistent, into the unknown. but your soul still, or your spirit still calls you to do the unknown, and for some reason it keeps supporting your vision and your art. You know, I often used to say artists were like this. How can someone commit to art and know they might not get money, you know?
Yeah.
And I found myself in the situation, and the money just kept kind of turning up, and the people kept turning up, and the more I stepped into it, and the more I released the fear, and the more I kept stepping into it, the more I released the fear. I would not say I'm 100% without fear now.
Fear-free.
Fear-free. That's a good
Fear-free.
one. Fear-free. I'm not fear-free.
Who is fear-free around here on this planet?
Right? That's why we came, our human
I truly believe that we come here to experience fear and overcome it, you know? Like, and then it's just like that sign that is a new thing. Like, for me, fear, every time I feel fear, is like, it's an alarm. It's like, it's a siren that goes on telling me, evolution time, evolution opportunity. Like, you take it or you don't, right?
Yeah.
And it's not about embracing the fear or like I'm just gonna face it, but it's just like, oh, it's just telling me that this is new for me.
Yeah,
I'm taking it or not, take it or leave it, but it's new.
Yeah. And it's true. And I mean, you know, you've also been faced with many great opportunities in your life to do some really cool and great work. But the taking the fear factor, I mean, I have a new gauge now. I have a new gauge. Fear is not my gauge. It's an indicator and it tells me stuff, but it's not how I base. When I based my decisions on fear, I made all the wrong decisions.
Exactly.
Quite honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
I made the safe decisions, or I made the ones that felt secure. Whether it was with partners or whether it was with jobs or decision making, that kind of stuff. Now, when fear is a catalyst to tell me to take a look at something, is this really fear? Is this my old story or my old paradigm telling me to be fearful and it's not safe? We know this in the ancient brain at the back of our head, in the skull. It's what's served us and helped us so much in our lifetime to keeping us safe. But to the point where sometimes it makes us also close down on what opportunities and things can be pointing out. So the Magdalene brain is a guide, and it helped us as infancy and through childhood to be safe and to be secure as best we could. But sometimes in the adult world, we need to kind of shake it up a little bit and give it a massage and maybe clean it a little bit, and especially with diet and vitamins, and clean it up and go, okay, and have a good talk with that old ancient brain and say, okay, well, that was then, we're now here now. And so fear is not going to be erased. It's in our DNA. It's a human experience. How we choose to channel that fear and how we choose to allow it to be fuel for something great or fuel for something that might be holding us back. And that's I think the next level of what fear can be an indicator to us.
Yeah, it's a beautiful source of like energy that could transmutate in beautiful things.
Yeah.
Right? If you are allowed it to, right? But if you just decided to get stuck in the fear, then it will paralyze you. Maybe it's for
and I've been stuck in fear. I mean, there were many years I was stuck in fear where I stayed in something or a situation that may have not been most ideal for my thing, but there was stuff to learn. And until I gained my own strength or my own power or my own understanding, and I know that sounds cliche and that's probably minimalizing what I'm trying to say, but until I trusted myself, and I've made many decisions that were people, including my family, who were hippies, who were very open. I was very much a free-range child. I did not have parameters. My history was very much, family was very successful, money-oriented, very intellectual, knowledgeable people. And my father decided to leave that and to live very differently. Back.
So interesting.
Yeah, there's a whole story there.
Uh-huh.
There might be a book one day, actually.
Yes.
I always considered. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. But I got raised with sort of no parameters, no boundaries, much free range. And that comes with its challenges too. I know everybody thinks, I was told to go to school, or I was told to go to religion, or I was told, I had these parameters and boundaries, and we know there's safety for children around that. So that's a whole other category of things. But at the end of the day, we all land when we land, where we're going to land, in our consciousness and in our understanding of who we are on the planet, and excelling in that. And when you dial it in, have you ever played in a band or done something where you're working with a group?
Well, I was always a dancer.
You're a dancer.
So yeah, I never played an instrument live.
But where you worked with others, right?
Yeah,
so you know that thing
Mm-hmm.
when you're in sync? Like when you see the birds and they're doing this and they're flipping this way and they're flipping that way and you're in sync with that energy. Like I'm getting goosebumps just actually mentioning it. But when you're in sync with that energy, that's what happens when you actually start dancing or playing in a band or singing with yourself. You get into that energetic field and it feels really great. And you just... There's a level of trust. There's a level of work, because I don't think that we can just sit around and not do some of the work, or take the actionable steps to get to places. And sometimes the fear will hold us back for a day, a week, a month, sometimes 10 years, depending on how long that fear chooses to hold you back. But when you leap, it feels like it does when you're dancing, or when I was in a band, and when we hit that note, and when we nailed it. It was like your hair could stand up, right? That feeling of just sheer energetic. You're in alignment with the universe.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, I can see you know that feeling.
Yeah.
I think you experience it a lot. So
yeah, that I experience it every day now. Yeah. Like,
right?
And I used to experience it a lot while I was a dancer, an artist, and then I kind of move away a little bit from that. And then is when I lost myself, right? Because I always identified myself being as a dancer or as an artist, and that was really like my free therapy, right? That was like every time I was getting connecting with the universe constantly, so I couldn't notice when I was disconnected. It didn't really create a big imbalance on myself, but when I was disconnected from art from a very long time is when actually it was like my wake-up call. It was like it hit me, like I really got very unbalanced because I didn't have my free source, my free therapy, you know? Yeah. And then I had to create my own therapy.
What did imbalance look like for you? I'm just curious, like when you...
Disconnected from the universe. Yeah. It's just like you just feel like disconnected, and then I went back to look for that missing piece again, right? Like it's just like, oh my God,
back to that.
And then the bucket list. That's what I call it. That's the opposite to the missing piece, right? Like you feel like, doing all the checklists. Well, you just go through your bucket list. It's like, once I get here, I'll be fine.
Okay.
Once I have,
your checklist or your bucket list.
Your checklist. Yeah. The house, the pet,
the car,
the career,
the kids, the
car.
husband.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then you have it all and you're like, oh, now I feel even more empty.
Yeah.
How is this possible?
Yeah.
Now I'm in trouble.
Yeah. And we're lucky we live in a time now where women, we can talk about this.
Yes. Yeah.
And we can change it.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I understand.
Good for you.
High five.
I love it.
Yes. I had a great role model. Really, my mom was by the time she said, like, if I did it, you can do it. And she got it in a really hard time, and that was always my reference. I was like, if she could do it with 4 kids, I have 3 older brothers,
3 boys and a girl.
Yeah. I can
Strong
do it
woman.
with 1 boy, right? And I was that leap of faith that you're talking about that got me back into my source, which was trusting, like forgetting about the plan, forgetting about controlling the matter, right? Controlling everything I could, and just live a new day every day, a new day every day. And all of a sudden, when I was like, if I go to bed feeling healthy, and happy, that's all I care about. I was having a successful day. I stopped caring about a successful life, a successful long career. Every time I was changing careers, then the social pressure. Oh, but you are so successful at what you do. You're going to change again at your age. You're not getting any younger. Any younger thing.
Yeah, whatever. When I turned 50, I was like, what am I going to do for the next 50? Seriously, I was a lot more alive at 50, my 50th birthday than I was at my 25th. Or my 30th even,
Yeah, that's so interesting. That's why it got me you got me very interested in your story about how would it be? Like, I always wondered, how would it be my life? It was like, growing free range because I had this free spirit, but I wasn't able to fully express it, right? So every time I wanted to change, I was always somehow being, pushed to not to.
I guess there's kind of two aspects to that, and I sort of tapped into it a little bit, and this is purely my opinion. There's no science behind this at all. But having grown up that way with no boundaries and no restrictions, it certainly allowed lots of creative freedom. But we also know from science that children need some structure in order to feel secure and to feel safe. So society sort of took that I'm going to use it as polar opposites because this is how I consider it. You either considered yourself growing up free or you considered yourself growing up caged. So in the world of more structure and more boundaries, you had areas to push from where you knew if I'd crossed this boundary that I knew I was taking a leap outside of the family, the tribal consciousness by going outside of something else. When you're the kid here and there's no boundaries, you don't really know where you're just doing it because it feels good or it doesn't feel good or that felt scary or whatever. And it's similar. The journeys are, I think, the same. And I think society has kind of how we've, as a consciousness, accepted to be a certain way. And I think that that's what we're fighting against right now, to speak kind of like on a higher level here. Yeah. I think that consciousness is shifting. And I think that the way we've done things, we're seeing our politics fall, we're seeing our churches fall, we're seeing our governments being questioned, we're seeing, all the dictated, accepted ways of being are no longer being accepted by society. And so I think we're up for a big upheaval right now with people. And I think this is the time where we step into our inner work. And this is where we take care of our nutrition. We take care of our exercise. We take care of our spiritual stuff. So the work that I do, it is body, mind, spirit. So they don't work independently.
Yeah.
Someone comes to me to lose weight.
Does.
No,
nothing
right?
Really does.
Somebody comes to me to lose weight, and then all of a sudden, we're talking about avocados one minute, and then we're talking about maybe the potential of the marriage not being well the next. So we know that they're all intermingled, and so I believe it right now that it's important, whether you were restricted by societal boundaries or fences, or whether you were free range. It's time for those kind of two worlds to come together and find a safe place for us to have communication, a safe place for us to be to be more in spirit while on the planet, in these bodies, like having sex, eating food, having fun. This is all important, right? It's like it can't be one or the other, which is how we've kind of set it up a little bit. And I think it can be all inclusive. And listening to your own heart and your own spirit is huge, a massive awakening that we live in this time, and that we've chose to come at this time to have the opportunity to do that. So don't blow it. So if you're being called to action and you're being called to do something different than what you're doing, don't be afraid to try it on and look at what that looks like. Right, Jen?
It's amazing. I know it's
not perfect, but it feels good when you're pretend you're that bird.
It's messy, right? It's always to look back to the old mess that you have inside, right? It's messy, but it's so liberating. It's your own mess, right? And it's like the moment you take care of your house and it's all dirty, but you start cleaning and you know there's still so much to clean. It could be better, but the way you're putting things is on your way and it works for you and you love it. And that's the way it works when we are doing any sort of healing, reorganizing whatever is inside. It's our own space. Right? The way we put it, we take consciousness about the information we're absorbing. Everything is coming to you, the people that you are hanging out with, the food your consumption. Now you can have a better quality of relationship with yourself.
Oh, well, this is, relationships is a huge, again, Shel Silverstein, The Missing Piece, the book. I'm just going to plug it. I don't know him, but I think it's such a great book and it speaks so much to this. So The Missing Piece is exactly what you just said. Like, it's just, we're always looking. And I just think as humans, I don't know, not all humans are looking. They really aren't. And I've, as you were sort of talking, and not that I wasn't listening because I was listening to you, but I was sort of formulating in my mind about how certain people have, I guess, for lack of better words, sort of a restless soul. They're looking for that. And we look for that often in relationships, with partnerships. Mm-hmm. So if we're missing that piece within ourselves, we're looking to our partner to fill it. And I'm guilty of that. I've done that, been that. And I'm not judging that or saying that it's bad or right or wrong or indifferent. It's like when you get to recognize, oh, I was with that person because they made me feel safe and secure. Then you need to ask yourself the question, well, do I feel safe and secure within myself? And then what's the need for that other partner? So it's like, why do we need these other partners? And it happens at different times of life. Yeah. When you're young, you're very much, getting ready to have family. You want someone to be, who's going to help you raise your children. You have all these incredible, your needs are different. When you're in your 40s or your 50s, or, when people are getting into relationships in their 70s, like your need is very different. You don't need the same stuff you needed at 20. So I'm not saying that our needs are not going to be met by our partners, but when we're looking to other people for stuff that calling of the soul, that has us in angst, that makes us feel super uncomfortable, and our partner's not giving it to us, and we're angry, or we're angry at them because of this, it's often a projection. And it's also because they can't give us what we have because we don't actually have it already, which is, again, the book.
Yeah, we cannot attract what we don't have, right? Yeah. And we cannot give what we don't have. Yeah. So we're expecting that someone else will give us what we're not given to them because we don't have it.
Well, and then
in
you become,
first place.
But then you become an energy vampire, right? Where you're sucking energy out of somebody else to fill a need within yourself. And,
exactly.
So I think that this is, I don't know what the answer is. I'm still on the journey myself, and I'm in my mid-50s, and I'm totally going for life with more vim and vigor. And I've always been energetic, kind of like you. We've done all kinds of great stuff in our lives, and it's not like we're boring people, but this is a different, I journal every morning. I write every day for an hour. And this morning that all came up before we came to this podcast today around just reflecting on what I've had, what I felt I needed, what I got, and where I'm at today, and how that all culminates to where I'm at today. And I know that's going to change again, like this afternoon. It's going to change again in a year, and it's going to change again in another 10 years. And like I said, what am I going to do for the next 50 years? But the quest for journey, searching for the missing piece, it can be the adventure. So, did you find your missing piece in the adventure? I found some of them, for sure. Did I find my... Have you found your missing piece yet? I feel for me... Sorry, have you found your missing piece? Have I found my missing piece? I hear all my mistakes. No mistakes. Don't be silly. Have I found my missing piece? I found my missing piece right now. Yeah. Right now I have found my missing piece. And it's becoming... I found it, and I'm opening it up, and I'm polishing it a little bit, and I'm curious about it. I'm poking it. I might be licking it and tasting it, and And what is that missing piece? It's getting very exciting. My missing piece has been my trust in my own power. I love it. I love it. It's pretty sexy. It's pretty sexy. I like it too. Yeah. I don't wanna say much about it because it's pretty similar about my my missing piece too, right? When I found out that it was all about my power and my life purpose, right? Yep. And everything shifted because there was nothing else to look for, but to work with, and to love and to use it every day, to explore, like you were saying, touching it and seeing it. Just exploring and going, okay, what are you? Oh, what is this thing? What is this foreign object? Oh, hang on, I've been looking for you, right? Yeah. Now I want to ask you a question. Oh, all right. So when you kind of discovered your missing piece, I guess this is a leading question because I'm kind of leading into it. But when you discovered your missing piece, did you find your life just went like it propelled to the whole next level of like the speed of light and things were just happening so quickly?
Yes and no. I could feel the momentum of it, yes. But at the same time, I've been spending so much time looking for it that I have been deciding on purpose, like intentionally, to just like I just feel like a newborn, like I just feel like a baby that just got his first toy. So I'm just taking my time to enjoy it. So yes, I feel like every time I let go, it's just like everything is shifting very fast. But at the same time, there's a part of me that is not coming anymore from the fear, which what happened in the past, but it's coming from more like, wait, I want to enjoy it. What's the rush?
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to enjoy my process. Like even with this podcast, my coaching practices, it's just, I want to enjoy the process as the way I enjoy my baby when he was all this time. Still, I enjoyed him. Every little thing. Just being present in whatever happens, because, and the mistakes is when we learn the most. And those are the experiences that actually you keep in your heart, sometimes. Totally. So I don't want to go through them so fast. And I just want to taste it, the whole thing. I just want to enjoy the whole process. I will feel like now that I found it, it's going to be with me forever. So the rush is gone.
Well, and I say this, and I might have said it to you, even with my clients who come to me, it's like you can't unlearn things.
Yeah, exactly.
Like once you go to that next level, you can't unlearn them.
Yeah.
You can choose not to implement them, or you can choose not to utilize them, but you can't unlearn what you know.
Exactly, and I think that's where I am right now. It's just I'm learning how to share this with others. Yeah. Like that's my learning process right now. It's like there's so many ways, like for me, discovering that, the coaching practices could be that powerful. It was a miracle. I wasn't planning for it, but it was like, wow, like I could teach others how to liberate themselves as well as I did.
And that's the part I'm saying. I guess it's less about I guess I didn't articulate it right, but that's what I'm saying. It's like once you made that decision outside of the fear box and you stepped into it and you owned it, then things started just lining up for you and presenting themselves to you. And then I guess that's what I meant about the momentum of that universe of like when you kind of commit to it and you go, okay, I'm going to do this. And then everything just starts turning up to support that.
I feel like the universe is working double time for me. 24/7.
And this is right? And this is the magic. This is the swimming with the birds. This is or the fish and the birds and the
But I have to let the universe know that I'm trusting that he's doing his job. Yeah. The moment he can sense that I'm not trusting,
it all shuts down.
Then stops the double shift. Like, okay, she's on her own. Let her figure it out. And then I come back. It's like, no, wait.
Yeah.
No.
Hang on, I trust.
Keep working. Double shift.
Hang on a minute. You're doing a good job. You're doing a good job with
You do a better job than I do. Keep aligning things for myself. That's fine.
Oh, that's awesome. I know, it's really fantastic. And I think the idea of always constantly learning and growing and expanding and stepping into your own inner magic, because we all have it. You just have to own it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And it's a liberation. It's a process of liberation.
Oh, so, I can tell you the stories. It took me a long time to get here. Even though I've been practicing a long time, it's changed and evolved. I've had some dark mornings of the soul too, where it's been, where things were, feeling frustrated and unfulfilled and what is it, there's astrologically there's two areas that happens. It's at the Saturn's return, and then it's again when you go through, right? So these are the explosions of when you start questioning all that kind of stuff. So and you know what, I have to say that I don't know if that happens to you, but I see it every day with my consultants, and that happens to me every time I go through like a new, like expanding my consciousness in another level. When we have been caged with whatever, like a belief system or a relationship or whatever. And we're finally, like a toxic behavior as well. And we are liberating ourselves.
also we are so afraid to leave the cage, right? We can feel the air coming. We can see the light. We see the door is open. But we are like, holy shit, now what?
Yeah.
Like, am I ready?
Yeah.
I feel like the people in prison might feel the same way, right? Like after 20 years being in prison, and then all of a sudden you're free again.
Yeah.
You know, they have to do that adjustment.
Absolutely.
Right? So we do that every time we shift our consciousness, right? And
absolutely.
And it's a process. That's why I call it a process of liberation.
Yeah.
Because you have to free yourself from the process as well, you know, and get comfortable in the other side of the tunnel,
absolutely.
right? And that's another process, right? So so for me, it's like I go through that constantly, right? And then I take my time.
Back in.
Every time I go through, like I want to expand my consciousness, it's just like another. I'm breaking out of another carousel.
Yeah.
Like and then it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Let's do the steps slowly and get adapted and enjoy the whole process, because when you're out, you're out.
Yeah.
You're not coming back.
Yeah. That's
you know?
right. And
so I like to enjoy that
because it's the unknown, right?
Yeah.
And it's a new era. I think it was you. I know one of my clients called me and asked me about free range organic chicken eggs. Was it you that called me?
Yeah, probably.
I can't remember. I know it was recent. And
I ask everyone about free range or like a good quality meat or whatever.
In some areas, I really believe that's
me.
the truth, right? So this is the truth, and this is like this. Your story right now just reiterated to me back the same thing of the chickens. So chickens, when they sell them as free range, I always find that fascinating, because chickens are very much like that. They love being in the coop. They love being where it's safe. The door will be wide open, and the pen might run for miles, but they really stay close, and they don't really venture out. So it's kind of like what you were saying around that. Free range organic chickens. Well, free range, yes, they have the freedom to go out, but whether or not they choose to do it is really. And I had a chicken farmer tell me that.
Oh.
Yeah, he shared that with me.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, so I'm super happy that you're stepping into your magic and you're sharing it with your clients, and you're creating a space for people to expand. The world needs that right now, and it's really good that you're doing your own work, and I witnessed it myself. And so I commend you so much for what you've done and the speed of what you're doing. And I say that from my perspective as healer, from healer to healer, because I've seen you embrace, I've seen you change. You've shifted a lifetime of without getting into your physical stuff, but of stuff that's manifested.
My relationship with food has always been challenging since I was since before birth, you know, it has been one of my challenges to work in this lifetime.
Yeah. But I can tell you, she got on, she embraced, and I got a text the next day. Literally, she had already made the chef. So,
another label, cross it out, liberation.
No, but it's just but this is why I said to you, this has always happened, because I've seen thousands of people, well, maybe not thousands, but certainly in the hundreds of people, clients, and they all get different levels of healing, right? And because it's usually, we coexist, we co-heal together. I don't heal people. I give them the tools and I help them to do it, whether or not they do the work. But Jen did the work. Jen was committed to being the best healer she can be by taking care of this one aspect that she felt was holding her back, and you did it within a week. You turned that shit around.
Well, I really love what I do. Like I said, this was my missing piece, finding my inner power. And then when I found it, it was like, oh, it's not here for keep it for myself. Yeah. It's actually for me to share with others and teach others how to get to that power, right? And that way, it's just they find their own GPS, right? To freedom. Yeah. So I love it. I love it, and there's so much that I still have to learn. And today was my first live interview, face to face, and I'm so nervous still, but I'm just enjoying every second of it. And I would love to invite you, like I mentioned it before to you. Yeah. I would love to have you for the second season, so you can explain us more in detail about your service,
about what
you do, and I know many people are struggling with eating disorders right now after this whole 2 years almost of pandemic, and we are all going through this difficult transition that many of us don't understand what actually really means to, right?
No, for
and
sure.
I would love you to share with us.
Yeah, I'd be happy to come back.
All
and
that
talk.
information.
It was really fun. I love it.
Thank you so much. Bye, guys. Thank you for watching this episode of Surrendering to the Soul. And I'll see you in the next episode. Mwah.
Thank you.
It feels liberating to know that you're not the only one going through chaos, isn't it? Many years ago, when I realized that I was living in a toxic environment, I checked on YouTube, hoping I could hear other stories. Do you know how many I found? I found none. So my intention with this podcast is that never happens to others again. Help me to spread the word that there is a huge light at the end of the tunnel for everyone. Hasta la próxima.